Do not seek to become a judge if you do not have the strength to root out crime, lest you show fear in the presence of the prominent and mar your integrity. Okay, Marco Gonzalez, do not seek to become a judge if you do not have the strength to root out crime, lest you show fear in the presence of the prominent and mar your integrity. Ben Sira 7:6. Ben Sira 7:6. It's the Bible. Marco Gonzalez, I know you don't know shit about Christianity, but the Christianity, there's the golden rule. The golden rule is you treat others the way you'd want to be treated. Now, if I'm the judge and you were the victim, of like dozens and dozens of crimes, especially felony menacings, I would have your back. I would have your back. I would want justice to prevail. I would be even-handed. I would be fair and even-handed. I mean, what kind of judge would already pick a side before you even know what the hell is going on? So I keep going. The show must go on. So the whole point of this is I'm going to read some Matthew. It's Christmas time, right? So what is this Jesus Christ all about? Chapter 1, the genealogy of Jesus. The book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham became the father of Isaac. Isaac, the father of Jacob. Jacob, the father of Judah and his brothers. Judah became the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez became the father of Hezron. Hezron, the father of Ram. Ram, the father of Aminadab. Aminadab became the father of Nahshon. Nahshon, the father of Salmon. Salmon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Rahab, Boaz became the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed became the father of Jesse. Jesse, the father of David the king. David became the father of Solomon, whose mother had been the wife of Uriah. Solomon became the father of Rehoboam. Rehoboam, the father of Abijah. Abijah, the father of Asaph. Asaph became the father of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, the father of Joram. Joram, the father of Uzziah. Uzziah became the father of Jotham. Jotham, the father of Ahaz. Ahaz, the father of Hezekiah. Hezekiah became the father of Manasseh. Manasseh, the father of Amos. Amos, the father of Josiah. Josiah became the father of Jechoniah and his brothers at the time of the Babylonian exile. After the Babylonian exile, Jechoniah became the father of Shealtiel. Shealtiel, the father of Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel was the father of Abiud. Abiud became the father of Eliakim. Eliakim was the father of Azor. Azor, the father of Zadok. Zadok became the father... Now pay attention. This is all on the test, okay? This is all on the test. The father of Achim. Achim, the father of Eliud. Eliud, the father of Eleazar. Eleazar became the father of Matan. Matan, the father of Jacob. Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of her firstborn. Of her was born Jesus, who's called the Messiah. Thus, the total number of generations from Abraham to David is 14 generations. From David to the Babylonian exile, 14 generations. And from the Babylonian exile to the Messiah, 14 generations. 14. Is that a coincidence? No, that was actually tailor-made. There is no such thing as coincidences. Now, let's begin with the birth of Jesus. Now, this is how the birth of Jesus Christ came about. This is Matthew 1:18. When his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, but before they lived together, what? She was found with child. What? Through the Holy Spirit. What? Joseph, her husband, since he was a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose her to shame, decided to divorce her quietly. So divorce is okay? You're allowed to divorce? I thought divorce was... Didn't want to expose her to shame. Divorced her quietly. Why would God impregnated her? Why would she be exposed to shame? Such was his intention when, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary, your wife, into your home, for it is through the Holy Spirit that this child has been conceived in her. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. Behold, the virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel. Emmanuel, he was named Jesus. The prophets were wrong. The prophets were wrong. None of that makes any sense. A virgin bearing a son? And then why did we just go through all these fucking names? You're telling me Joseph is the stepdad? Joseph isn't even the blood relations, because this whole, we're supposed to believe the blood relation. I mean, we're pretending that this is Jesus's bloodlines, and Jesus's bloodlines goes all the way back to King David, goes back to Solomon and David, and we're Saul. Jesse was the father of David the king. Wow. So basically, the Jewish people pushed Saul's family out. And David and Jonathan were like the bestest of friends. David and Jonathan, King David said that relationship was more important than the love of women. But apparently they pushed Saul and Jonathan out. But King David is who we're trying to connect him to. And then we continue to go back farther. And guess what? It goes back to Abraham, the father of Isaac, and Isaac, the father of Jacob, and Jacob, the father of Judah, and Judah, the father of Perez and Zerah. And tomorrow, once I get started, I got to do the whole thing. Perez became, no, I'm just kidding. Hezron, Ram. My name's Ram. Dodge Ram at your service. Father of Aminadab. My name was too simple. I need to name my son something stupid and complicated. Aminadab it is, because became the father of Nashon. Nashon, the father of Salmon. Salmon, the father. Okay. Behold, the virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. When Joseph awoke, he did as the angel of the Lord had commanded and took his wife into his home. He had no relations with her until she bore a son, and he named him Jesus. Wow. So why do we give a shit about the fucking bloodlines, motherfucker? This is just an important family. This important family had the Messiah. Who gives a shit? It makes sense if Jesus had a family. Jesus had a mother and a father. And these are his bloodlines. And Joseph is the father. Could they have fucked Joseph over like that? Just to put it in, make it God's baby. No, it wasn't your baby, Joseph. It's God's baby. Is that not every goddamn man on the fucking planet? Every man on the planet wants to treat Joseph like a goddamn smuck. If you want to marry Mary, you should have married her. You should have been kind to her. Joseph, he's the winner. He was the victor. Now leave him alone. Oh, now God's messing with Mary. God's messing with a married woman. Come on, God. Have some respect. And then we shall name him Emmanuel. Who? Who are you naming? Manasseh? You know who the father of Manasseh is? Ezekiel. You know who is the son of Manasseh? Amos. Amos and Andy? Nope. Just Amos. Behold, the virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel. So, no, and no. The prophets were wrong. The prophets were wrong. It's people. He had no relations with her until she bore a son, and then he named him Jesus. So, fun times. Chapter 2, the visit of the Magi. When Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of King Herod, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star at its rising and have come to do him homage. When King Herod heard this, he was greatly troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Assembling all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They said to him, in Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it has been written through the prophet, And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, since from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people, Israel. Then Herod called the Magi secretly, ascertained from them the time of the star's appearance. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search diligently for the child. When you have found him, bring me word, that I too may go and do him homage." After their audience with the king, they set out, and behold, the star that they had seen at its rising preceded them until it came and stopped over the place where the child was. Because that's good science. Stars go all over the place. It's a magical story, wonderful story. I mean, back 2,000 years ago, this has been, you got to get their attention somehow. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Then they opened their treasures and offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed for their country by another way. The flight to Egypt. 13. When they had departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Rise, take thy child and his mother, and flee to Egypt and stay there until I tell you. Herod is going to search for the child to destroy him." Joseph rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt. How far is Egypt away from Bethlehem? They make it sound like it's just down the road. He stayed there until the death of Herod, that what the Lord had said through the prophet might be fulfilled. "Out of Egypt I called my son," the massacre of the infants. When Herod realized that he had been deceived by the Magi, he became furious. And then King Herod ordered the massacre of all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity, 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had ascertained from the Magi. Then was fulfilled what had been said through Jeremiah the prophet. A voice was heard in Ramah, sobbing and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children, and she would not be consoled since they were no more. The return from Egypt. Rachel weeping for her children, and she would not be consoled since they were no more. What? The children of Rachel and Jacob, all they're trying to say, the Jews, the chosen people are no more because of the Bethlehem, because they killed all the boys of Bethlehem. Yeah, that's a fitting poem. That's fucking genocide. I kind of believe that wasn't true. I feel like it's a literary device, because that's the same shit that happened to Moses, wasn't it? Didn't, like, the Moses was born, and then the Pharaoh, like, killed all the 2-year-old boys and shit. And then King Herod, I thought he was like, he accomplished, I mean, they were Romans, so they accomplished like aqueducts and great works. There's a renaissance of art, but they were also fucking bloody militaristic psychopaths just taking over the world. I think that Rome should have been an empire for like 10 years and then scaled it back to being a republic. You should only go be an empire when you're passing out UBI checks to all the citizens of your country. The return from Egypt. And then we'll finish off with just chapter 1 and 2, and we'll get back to Matthew someday. With the return from Egypt, when Herod had died, behold, the angel of the Lord. But if you assume that had happened, that's some fucking sick, fucked up shit. That is almost like wiping out the entire motherfucking everybody. And then what? The Roman soldiers just went into Bethlehem and then just killed all the Jews there, all the 2-year-old boys. And none of them had a problem with it. None of them had an ethics, no conscience, no morality. Well, it's what the damn emperor wanted. It's what the damn emperor wanted. You know, what can you do? And apparently he was born, 4 A.D.? And that's not Tiberius. This is Augustus. This is under the, Augustus was like the great emperor. Augustus was like the emperor that made empires look good. But he was born, and then Augustus appointed Herod. And then Herod is going to kill all the Jewish boys in Bethlehem. Why? Because Jesus was born. And because the Magi saw a fucking star and they followed the star. They were lying too. King Herod, they were lying to you. Just like Mary lied to Joseph. No, she was with another man. There was no God, no Holy Spirit. But Joseph went and bought it. She's, part of this important family and whatnot. Clever how they just kind of wrote him out of the thing. And then this man had this man, and this man had this man, and we've had 14 generations and 14 generations, and my God, that's 28 plus 14, that's another 42 generations. But actually, Joseph isn't a part of any of it. Nah, Joseph isn't one of us. Joseph is more of a vessel. No, he's just going to take care of Mary. He's going to take care of God's child while he's absentee father. Where the hell did God go? Joseph is being the man of the family. He's stepping up. He's being the father. He's being the father that Jesus never knew. Oh, except for when he prayed to him in the garden. Hey, God, they're about to fucking crucify me tomorrow. Do you want to show up and help out? What, come on, man. Come on, guy. When Herod had died, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, Rise, take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel. For those who sought the child's life are dead. He rose, took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. Well, that was easy. Just went to Egypt for a while, came back. All the enemies were already dead, but it didn't say how he had died because, shake that man's hand. King Herod's killing all them fucking kids and shit. How long did King Herod fucking live after he did that shit? Killed all the fucking kids in Bethlehem. Can you imagine people murdering people in Bethlehem? Can you imagine just anybody murdering any innocent people in Bethlehem? Could you imagine if Bethlehem was being oppressed today? If Bethlehem was in Palestine? Could you imagine if Israel was going to try to steal Bethlehem away from Palestine today? That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. You're crazy. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go back there. What? Archelaus, is this true? With the agreement of the Emperor Augustus, Archelaus received half of his father's kingdom, including Judea. After Herod's death, he had the title Ethnarch, i.e. ruler of a nation, reigned from 4 BC to 6 AD. So, okay, that's true. So Herod was a real character. Augustus, this is the age of Augustus. Fucking yay, boy, the age of Augustus. I thought the age of Aquarius was going to be rough. But the age of Augustus, go to Bethlehem and kill all the kids. You guys are the ones against abortion? Not us, but the Jesus followers. Is that who you meant? King Herod, give to Caesar, renders to Caesar what, render to Herod what is Herod's, render to Augustus what is Augustus, render to, so Archelaus, okay, no, that's not changed, Herod is still there, now it's Archelaus, what the fuck, because he had been warned in a dream, he departed for the region of Galilee, smart thinking, see, Joseph is fucking smart, he ain't gonna go back to Bethlehem, nor to Jerusalem, he's gonna go to Galilee, he went and dwelled in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been fulfilled, spoken through the prophets, might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. So he's from Nazareth in Galilee. I guess the region is Galilee and the town is Nazareth. Right, we got counties, right? Counties, and then there's cities. Conejos County, and then you have Magoti, and then you got the church right there by Magoti. And then you have that other church, and then there's that church over the... You got Capelin and Romeo and Lahara and Antonito and Fox Creek people. And who else? Capelin. There's another damn name. I was like, wait a second. I've never heard of that name. There's also like Beautiful, Golden. God, it's a nice named town. Every time when I drive to Alamosa, there's a nice named town up there on 17 on the left-hand side. Something beautiful, quaint, golden. Where you live in Golden Town? And then Jesus said to him, Get away, Satan! It is written, the Lord your God shall you worship him and him alone. Get away from me, Satan! And that's it. End of chapter 2, the proclamation of the kingdom. Chapter 3, the preaching of John the Baptist. So there you go. Why do we have Christmas? Because a bunch of fucking Christians believe this stupid shit. Well, Jesus was born in a manger in Bethlehem because of the star. No, they followed the star, and then the Herod, that sounds nuts. But if true, that makes Herod a piece of shit. And you know what? The Romans wouldn't write about that shit, right? It would come from Christian literature. It'd come from separate sources. A lot of the, crimes of the Nazis are lost to history. I guarantee you that you'd have probably, only 10% of the crimes of the Nazis that are reported that we know about. I mean, how much dumb shit. I mean, when I think about just the dumb shit I've fucking seen that people got away with, or that I've heard about, and people got away with. With the ruling class, they never get in trouble for any fucking thing, and they met like, goddamn, they commit some major ass crimes. So we gotta get rid of the ruling class. Jesus is right about that. We gotta get rid of the ruling class. The Gospels. I'll read some of this. The collection of writings constitute the New Testament. Begins with 4 Gospels. Next comes the Acts of the Apostles, followed by 21 letters that are attributed to Paul, James, Peter, John, and Jude. Finally, at the end of the early church's scripture stands the Revelation to John. Virtually all Christians agree that these 27 books constitute the canon, a term that means rule and designates the list of writings that are regarded as authoritative for Christian faith and life. So there you go. 4 Gospels, Acts of the Apostles, 21 letters that are attributed to Paul, James, Peter, John, and Jude. And then there's Revelation to John. And that's it. Those are the 27 books that you need to know. If you want to be a Christian, read them 27 books. 27, this New Testament. I mean, look at this Old Testament. This Old Testament is so much thicker. This New Testament, look how thin that is. That's nice and thin. I mean, Jesus said he didn't come to destroy the Old Testament, but he kind of did, didn't he? He says actually he came to fulfill the law of the prophets and of Moses. So in a way, Jesus, he himself knew that he was a continuation of Judaism. But if this is Christianity and this is Judaism and the Bible is together and Christians believe the Bible, that means the foundation of Christianity makes Christianity 2.0, Judaism 2.0. You can't hate Jesus. You can't hate the Jews. Jesus was a Jew. You can't hate Judaism. Christianity is 2 fucking thirds Judaism. Look at that. 3/4. 3/4 of Christianity is Judaism. How are you going to sit there and pretend that you're, not culturally Jewish? And a lot of people even say that we have, Judeo-Christian, ethics or whatever. Judeo-Christian, they put them together. It's the purpose of this introduction to describe those features that are common in the 4 Gospels. A similar treatment of the letters of the New Testament is provided in the 2. I heard that Mark cheated off of Matthew. And then he chopped off the head, Herod Antipas, chopped off the head of John the Baptist. So there was some persecution of Christians going on. So in a way, I feel like it's actually quite plausible that Herod could have killed. I mean, it's only a quick little sentence, and so they didn't go into details about the damn thing, and for a literary device, it's kind of like, shit, that Jesus is the Messiah, that fucking star, the Magi, then Herod killed all them kids, and then they had to rush him, abscond off to Egypt. That's a hell of a fucking birth. I was just born, and then, they had to, get formula and diapers and whatnot. There wasn't no Magi and stars and King Herod trying to, and then fucking shit, what a punishment. You can't just kind of, and it sucks because an accusation, it doesn't mean he's guilty, but it puts an asterisk by his name, and that's a hell of a fucking accusation. That's a hell of an accusation just to make up about somebody. And then old King Herod, that merry old soul, yep, you know what he did yesterday? What? Killed all the kids in Bethlehem. Killed every single one of them. No, not the girls. Well, at least he ain't gay. That's what that Q shooter's father said. He often referred to it simply as the gospel. Paul used the word evangelon to designate the message that he and the other apostles proclaimed. Okay, so. And there's a lot of bullshit in here. Not only is there stupid fucking rules and shit, but what about the myths? I think a lot of adults will actually read the Bible and they'll read Genesis, so they'll read the very first book of Judaism, and they'll say, "Yep, Adam and Eve, talking snake, talking donkeys, yeah. There's a talking donkey in Aesop's fable. There's a talking donkey, Noah in the flood, bullshit. That's Gilgamesh in the flood. In Aesop's fable, the talking donkey was the horse and the the sad donkey. The donkey said, "Help me out, horse." And he was like, "No, I ain't going to help you out." Then he fell down and collapsed. And then the horse had to carry his load. And he was like, "Well, shit. Yeah, you're an asshole. Now you got to carry the damn load, you pile of shit." So, Tower of Babel. You're going to say Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt. You believe all this? You believe every bit of this, huh? And then Abraham taking Isaac up to go kill him. And then God was like, psych. Psych, Abraham. I didn't want you to kill your son. I just want to test you to see if you were willing to do so. Because a person who is willing to obey, a piece of shit that wants your own child to die, that's a lot of power for that piece of shit. And that gives no power to the father or to the son or to that family. A lot of the beginning of the Bible, it sounds like just a lot of priests, Jewish priests, just saying, "You need me." No, Adam and Eve, you can't eat from the tree of good of knowledge and evil. And what a weird ass rule to fucking... All right, I got one rule. Don't rape. No, that's not the rule. I got one rule for you, Adam and Eve, for the Garden of Eden. Don't murder. No, will you stop interrupting me? Don't assault, don't steal. You anywhere? Am I getting close? No, shut up, Adam. The one rule is don't eat that apple over there, okay? All right, see you later. Why? Well, that apple will give you knowledge of good and evil. And you need to get the knowledge of good and evil from the priestly class. So you need to keep yourself stupid and don't have a conscience and don't figure out for yourself what's good and evil. Go and ask other people what's good and evil. Have no conscience. If anything, that's like super fucked up. It's almost like they're taking the conscience and the soul away from the people. The story of Adam and Eve is for the priestly class to steal the soul away from the people so you'll just obey them and their interpretation of everything. Wasn't that the genius of the Protestants? Was they read the Bible for themselves. So the Catholics know how to obey the priest and be authoritative and the authoritarian bunch of pile of shit, but the Protestants, they were supposed to read the Bible and be able to understand it for themselves. They didn't need the priestly class to interpret these words. These words are written in English. I can understand them. I can understand logic too, so you could just explain it to me. David and Goliath. Now that's a badass fucking story. I like David and Goliath. Now the Bible might be worth it just for that story alone. Could you imagine? Oh God, could you imagine some big ass bully being like, "What's up? No, what's up? I'll slap the shit out of all of y'all. I'm the biggest motherfucker here." And then they're scared, so they don't, it's Goliath and the Philistines versus Saul and Jonathan and the Jews and the chosen one. And David was a part of Saul's entourage, but he's just, a kid. But then Goliath said it again. "Oh, aren't you the Jewish people, the chosen ones? What? Isn't your God good? Isn't your God the best in the world? If your God is so great, then why don't one of you all challenge me? If you win, you get all these Philistines to be your slaves. If I win, you all have to be my slaves. Who's going to fight me, Goliath? Who is going to fight me?" And then David comes up with his slingshot, knocks Goliath out, chops off his fucking head. Then they go chasing the Philistines. You get the hell out of here, you son of a bitch. You motherfucker. David, he's half the size of Goliath. Goliath is a giant. Goliath has a sword. David just has a slingshot, but he's got God on his side. And he's got a good aim. And you probably could sling a damn slingshot pretty strong. And then what about Revelations? So even if you, that's Old Testament stuff. So even if you're like, I don't believe Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel. I don't believe in Noah and the flood and Tower of Babel. I don't believe in Lot's wife and the pillar of salt. I don't believe none of that Old Testament bullshit. Adam came from the dirt. Yeah, that's how, when you make a person, you take a little dirt, you put a little mayonnaise, you put some pickles, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Now you have a human being. And then if you want a woman, well, you take that rib out of that man. Man, I wonder if people take that shit literally. How stupid are you, you stupid motherfucker? You think men come from dirt and women come from ribs of man? Now, if you use it as a metaphor, right, from dirt to dirt, and then woman being a part of man, as if like the species is man and woman is like a lesser version of himself or something. So it's sexist. And it's very sexist because he eats the damn apple, but only at Eve's urging after the serpent talked to Eve. If you understand it in the priestly context, it makes sense.